Well, you're basically saying the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like,
not always, because I was very squeaky and I was not being greased. I think that there's varying levels to that, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a level of investment. There's a level of trust. There's all sorts of things that play a role. Excuse me. That play a role in how someone's booked and why. At the end of the day, for whatever reason, most of my WWE tenure was spent as we'll use him when we need him, sort of thing. In NXT, this latest NXT run, it felt a little different. The end of my first NXT run felt like it was trending in that direction pretty well too. You know, we had the Takeover War Games and the feud with Keith, and that felt like it was progressing upward. And then the 1 month or whatever with Retribution that felt like it was going pretty well. But other than that, I had a lot of, we're talking about a 5-year window here where the majority of it feels like I'm not being heard. So I have this presentation ready for Sean and Johnny and Matt. And my guard is way up at this point, right? Because I've had these presentations, I've pitched things before, and every single time it gets ignored. Mm. Not only does it get ignored, sometimes you don't know this for sure, but you see something like it pop up. I'll give you an example. One time I pitched a thing to Vince, directly to Vince. I had artwork made up by my graphic designer because I knew how much Vince loved animals, like aggressive animals. Because he was always talking about like you're a dinosaur, you're this, you're snarling, talk about it. There's one time, I don't know if you remember this, but there's one time we did and it went viral at the time because it was so silly. It was me and Mace in gorilla. So Vince is sitting right there, we're like looking at him, and he wrote this promo basically, and he's like, just list animals, and we're standing there, we're like, cats, dogs, mice, rats. What do these things have in common? It's like they all want to kill something or whatever. Because he wrote this for us, and we're just saying it, and people are watching this promo. It's on YouTube. You could go find it on YouTube right now. And like, what? So he has this obsession with animals or scary animals or King of the Jungle. He has a big T-Rex head in his office.
Yeah.
So he has these weird obsessions.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It's very cool.
The T-Rex head.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. But just him in general, he has these like weird, like primal obsessions. So I'm like, okay, and I'm going through the list of animals in my head. I'm like, okay, that animal's taken. I'm like, what animal's available? I'm like, I got it, a lion. No one's ever been a lion in WWE that I can recall.
Chris Jericho?
That's Lionheart, and he wasn't that in WWE. That was in like WCW.
Sure, Lion Salt.
Lion Salt, sure, but yeah, no. Okay, but I mean, I'm a lion. Like I don't think Jericho ever did that. But yeah, so I make this pitch to him. I'm like, I want to be. I probably said Dijak because I would always pitch Dijak because my name was T-Bar and I didn't want to be T-Bar, so I'd always pitch Dijak in some capacity. I'd be like, my name is Dijak the Lion, and I'm like, I have all these different things. I showed him this whole thing, and he's like, all right, go out there and be the lion. Show me the lion. And I was like, okay. So I went out and wrestled like a lion. I don't know what that means, but I was like grabbing the guy really aggressively, like he was my prey or something. 2 weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, it was like, he's here. Veer is coming. Veer the lion. And I was like, oh. So I'm not going to say that like that would, but like, you start to notice things like that happen more and more, right? So I'm not going to say without a shadow of a doubt that he like took that and said, I'm giving this to, but like maybe the seed was planted and he forgot about it and they were at a meeting and he was thinking about lions and he came up, whatever. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But just, that wasn't the first time that something like that happened. That was the most obvious one, but that wasn't the first time something like that happened. I'll give you another example. One time, they had, and this is less of an example, but they were trying to do things with Omos, and he was with AJ Styles, and there was this different, and I think they were trying to branch him off. And this was at the same time when I was a singles competitor, and I was like, hey, I'm this big guy. I don't think I pitched this directly to Vince, but I think I sent it to the whole creative team or something. And it said something to the effect of, we're trying to think of something new for T-Bar to do. It's like we haven't had those Viking Raider-esque squash matches in a long time. The pandemic's over. We can have extras back. Like let's do some squash matches, and we can do something like that and then 2 weeks later, Omos was in the ring squashing guys. And I'm not saying that they took my idea. Like I didn't invent the idea of squash matches, but you started to see those trends happen where it's almost like I would remind them of an idea that they already had about somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, this. So